Okay, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. September full meeting. We haven't had one. We skipped our August one. So it's been since July, and I think I actually missed the July one. So I think it's been since June since I was here. So yeah, let's just start at the top of the agenda. It's in the Slack channel for anybody who needs to take a look at it. As far as membership, conflict resolution team we're still looking to add a member later this year. So we haven't really started that process yet, but that's our goal. Nothing new as far as subject matter expert roles for the community health team. Although, oh, here comes Neil. Other than Rachel stepped down as the DA ambassador. And here comes Neil. And I actually, I assumed / asked if Neil would take that role. And hey, Neil, we're just talking about you.
So I chatted with Rachel, and she didn't step down. She just wanted to only come to the meetings when relevant, is the way I heard what she said.
All right, I'll have to go back and look at my Slack messages with her.
But yeah, I mean, same.
Okay.
Same for me. Like, if it doesn't, unless there's something with Drupal.org on the agenda, I don't necessarily need to be here every month.
Yeah, no, and that's fine with me. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna basically undo this bit. And just delete that. And
Yeah.
that was my misunderstanding from what Rachel told me. Now I'm curious what.
It's not that much time, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here and catch things. Like, I'm glad I was involved with nudges as early as I was, for example. But yeah.
All right.
Otherwise, want to focus on Drupal.org related things.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it. I don't think it's not in a bad way, but I don't think it makes much difference one way or the other. So I don't think we need to spend more time on it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm happy to chase down coworkers if Rachel is, she's in Europe, so not online as much right now.
Got it. Yeah. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about with membership is I would not like to be the one to organize and run these meetings every month. I figured that I would do it just to get things going, and things are more or less going right now. So I'm definitely looking for someone to, take over in this role. This role doesn't really have a name other than, person who puts together the agenda and schedules the call and does the doodle and all that stuff. I'm also, and this is something we can talk about today. I'm also wondering if we need to do monthly meetings, if we can make it more, maybe every other month or something. And this is more of a bigger picture question. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of available bandwidth with the individuals in this group to operate on things that we've talked about doing. So I don't know if, maybe that'll change in the future, maybe it won't, but I don't know how much value there is for us to get together month to month and talk about things that we're not doing, that we want to do, but that we're not doing.
Well, I was going to say, maybe we should take the example of a lot of the other Drupal groups that kind of just do it asynchronously in Slack. It seems like a template most people are familiar with. Well, not most people, lots of people are familiar with, and kind of works. People can come in later and join in on the conversation. It's just Slack threads.
I'm just worried that, I mean, if that works, fantastic. I just don't know if you get momentum.
We do that the one month, and then every other month we do a video call.
That's fine. Amy June, you have your hand up?
That's what I was going to suggest. So, but I think a lot of folks, including myself, may use this meeting as kicking yourselves in the butt for what you said you were going to do before the next meeting. So I do worry a little bit that that's my only fear, and that could just be fear.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's a much better way of saying what I was feeling. Yeah, I feel that there's a value to this because it's like, you know, it's like physical accountability when we're looking at each other. But I'm, you know, I'm willing to try anything. So do we want to try that? Do we want to, you know, move to, is it bi-monthly or every other month? I'm not sure what it means.
It's bi-monthly, yeah.
Is it bi or semi? No, it's, yeah, bi-monthly.
Yeah, I mean, I want to echo what Jordana and Amy June said about trying to find ways to do more work asynchronously. And a question I had, so we have this ClickUp tool, which I have been using incredibly sporadically, but I am curious whether this tool has some kind of Slack integration so that it could actually ping me in the Drupal CWG Slack about, you know, things that I am working on and may need reminders about.
It does, and we actually have that. So Donna and Alex are who are both not here, are kind of our ClickUp experts.
Okay.
We actually have it set up for conflict resolution where it does that already.
Awesome. It would be very helpful to have it for our work as well.
Okay, so
I'm still feeling a little bit of redundancy with that tool though, because I feel like this group needs to have more transparency with the community, and having it in the issue queue is really important to me. Really important. And you can follow an issue there and get an email. You know what I mean? I've never even logged into ClickUp, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I have a ticket for what I'm working on. I'm not opposed to tools. I'm just worried, like, do I have time to write a ticket in both places? No, but transparency is super important to me with this group because of reactions I get from the community about us working behind closed doors. Does that make sense? I can understand the conflict resolution team using a tool, but for
Yep.
this group, I just don't know, because it just feels like another layer of complexity for all of us that now we have to like make sure we do it in both places. And
I'm fine with doing that stuff on Drupal.org. You know, we put a bunch of stuff in ClickUp on the conflict resolution side of things, just because it's conflict resolution.
Yep.
And then we put you know, I basically moved everything on our list here into ClickUp just so it was somewhere.
Mm.
And it was somewhere that was updatable. I think, you know, once, you know, I'm 100% fine if, you know, as tasks start becoming active, if we just, you know, update ClickUp and say, see this Drupal.org issue and then do everything in Drupal.org, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that.
So Mike, I
Yeah.
have an idea for something that may kill two birds with one stone in terms of keeping ourselves accountable, which is maybe our next task should be for all of us who do have items that we are working on in ClickUp to make progress on those so that we can move them into Drupal.org before we meet next time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, I have, you know, in the agenda, I think under most, if not all of the items, there are links to ClickUp, and there are names for tasks for, you know, like George, your name is next to the COC update one.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and I checked in on it this morning, and my action item is the same action item as last time, but I know that like I can very easily do that action item and get it into Drupal.org. Even if the thing I'm doing shouldn't quite live in Drupal.org yet, I can at least post an update for you know, for that.
All right. Yeah, there's a bunch of these. I'm just looking through the agenda now. There's a bunch of them that we have needs a leader. These are ideas that came out of the exercise we did with George M. That, you know, have no momentum yet.
I think the reason why we wanted a different tool than not just the issue queues is some of these still need to be worked out, or there are ideas that we wanted to capture and didn't want to lose, because that
Right.
has been our experience with things. And that's kind of how we've been using ClickUp as something to remind us for sure, but also to start working on something before it can become for example, maybe an issue. So, but we could definitely work and tweak on how to better integrate those things and make sure that we, we're open for
Yeah.
things if this doesn't work actually.
Well, I think it kind of fits in what I was saying, right? Which is, uh, if ClickUp is the place where the idea lives before it is fully baked enough to live on Drupal.org, then maybe our next task, each of us individually for the task we're assigned, or assigning tasks to folks for those items that don't have people assigned to them yet, is to get those assigned and get them to a place where they can be shared on Drupal.org. And then we can have more community accountability as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it's even where the idea is fully formed. I think it's okay to have an idea that's not fully formed in Drupal.org, but I think that the tipping point is it needs someone carrying the flag,
Mhm.
right? I think when someone decides I'm going to do something and I'm going to lead this or carry the flag, that's when it should go into Drupal.org, because then someone is invested, at least mentally, in it, and can put it in Drupal.org and reply to comments and questions and talk it up and get other folks involved. I think that's the tipping point rather than a fully fleshed out idea.
Well, sometimes it's not just the fully fleshed out ideas. I'm so sorry, but I mean, like for example, sometimes we need bandwidth or we need people to kind of lead it because none of us have time, and then having an issue in the issue queue could have somebody be there and be like, oh, I'm interested in this, I can help, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I don't know how often that's going to happen, but I hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
So you're saying there's a chance. All right, well, let's go through these tasks that we have. And let's see if someone, here for each of these is interested in carrying the flag and moving them in. The first one's very easy because it's George and it's the code of
Yes.
conduct stuff. So
Yeah, and I
there's
still want
stuff
to.
in, yeah, there's already stuff there.
Yeah, and I still want to hold on to that. So yeah, so being very transparent and sharing with the entire group here. I'm not sure that any of you I've had a chance to talk with you yet, but so I was recently diagnosed with adult ADHD, which may not surprise some of you to learn, but so I am starting treatment for that. And only about like a month in, and but what it already I am in a much better place where I'm able to focus and accomplish and get things done, and I have been making very substantial progress through my backlog of items, and this one is one of those that's been really bugging me on my backlog for some time, and so y'all should definitely expect to see progress on it now. So I want to take care of this, and I know that I now can take care of it. So yeah.
All right, super. Okay, so the next one is open source community health discussions. So Jordana and Ruth and George M, how are those going? When was the latest call, and can you give us an update on that?
The last one was last month, and the next one is on Friday.
Mhm.
It's going well. This, like we said, and we could tell maybe a little bit from these meetings as well. Like I think August, September is a harder time for most people. So it's harder. We had like a pretty big dip in attendance. But speaking of which, there was something that happened there that we may want to create a poll for in our Slack, or like have a discussion about. One of the attendees from WordCamp is going over to Reddit, and they asked how open are we to have these discussions be open to more than just open source communities, but for example, if they were still to attend, or people such as that, because people are getting some value from these discussions. So I don't know if anybody has any strong thoughts about that. Or
Well, I don't understand. So a WordPress community member was posting something on Reddit about,
no. So okay, they're moving their job from
They're
the
leaving.
WordCamp. They're leaving the WordCamp, their WordCamp job.
okay,
WordPress.
Yes.
Sorry, WordPress. Their job at WordPress that made them as much involved in these open source community discussions, and they're moving to a job, for example, for Reddit. I'm forgetting these meetings are recorded. And they're still interested in joining these discussions because they're still a WordPress community member, but that's no longer their job. So the question is, how open are we to have other members involved that may not necessarily be part of open source community?
okay, I understand. Someone who has been
All right.
participating in these calls, who worked for WordPress, is leaving WordPress and is still interested in staying on the calls.
Possibly, yeah. Amy June, is that not true?
I'd like to make a comment about this specific person is really valuable because of her long-term role and her relationship with the Drupal community. Her insights, I mean, I hate to say, like, the person who's stepping into her shoes is good too, but this specific person's long-term relationship with Drupal, like, her insights would just be invaluable. So I would encourage, like, I don't know if I would encourage like anyone else, but so there's this hard balance of what do we do because it's an open source conversation.
I don't
But with this
understand
specific
what the problem is. Like, what is there like, why is
They're
there
no
a
longer
question?
going to be, because it's an open source community held discussions, and they're no longer going to be working in open source.
Well,
But they still have experience and everything. So
Yeah,
you could technically say
Yeah.
they're still going to be part of the open source
Doesn't
communities
matter.
because
no, that doesn't.
All right.
There's hobbyists.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a
This is-
hobbyist and participate in the call. I think this is a non-issue. I'm like struggling to figure out
Right.
why we're talking about it, to be honest with
we're
you.
we're talking about it because I brought it up a few times and we didn't really bring any. I'm just raising it so that if anybody sees a thing about it, that they can bring it up to, so we can have a better discussion. Or
Okay.
we're being transparent.
Got
And
it.
we're having this discussion of saying, like, okay, if anybody sees any red flags or any reason for why maybe we should separate it or have any ideas about it, they can very easily come talk to me or us or whoever is anybody that's participating in these calls.
Understood. Okay.
I mean, I think given that we don't discuss anything particularly sensitive in those calls, right? That would, I think, be my only concern there. I mean, but Amy June is absolutely correct. This participant provides amazing perspective and an expertise and experience. And even if they are no longer actively involved in open source, that perspective is something that adds tremendously. And I would be fine with anyone being part of that group who is willing and able to participate in a productive way, regardless of their current relationship with any open source projects.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better. So are these, in the interest of transparency, are these meetings posted on Drupal.org or anything like that?
They're in the issue queues. Like Amy June adds like the thing about the participated in the. I'm going to be eventually posting recordings and everything, and once I get everybody's okay,
Okay.
and the meeting minutes and the recordings, yeah.
All right, well, let's move in that direction, please. All right, I'm gonna keep on going. So Amy June, you put something in Slack last week, some point, about proof of vaccine protocol at live events that you wanted to bring up.
Well, I didn't know if there's anything in place anywhere, and I think if the conversation hasn't started, we should start, because Florida Drupal Camp is working on going in person, and we would like to say you have to have vaccines. So I don't know what this means for all of those things.
So I have not heard of anything like that in the Drupal community for a Drupal live event. I don't know if has anybody else?
I know the DrupalCon NA has a page of information on how they're planning for Portland. And so I don't know if they are actively working toward anything specific.
And that's basically, we're going to follow the Convention Center's guidelines, the Oregon's guidelines, Multnomah County, Portland, and yeah, go with the public health authorities.
Okay, so Florida Drupal Camp might be a one-off because we don't want to follow Florida's procedures and protocols around vaccinations. You know, we want to be stringent. But
Right.
the reason why I brought it up was I just didn't know if it had to be a conversation starter. That was it more than anything. Like, do I, as an event organizer, have to start thinking about this? Are we like, do we have to be in line? Do we, you know, that's it. That was just the general, like, I don't know what to do thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, and the really challenging thing with this, right, is that, you know, it's going to vary depending on, you know, so many different factors, right? And, you know, so I think I think at a bare minimum, right, like the baseline is you have to follow whatever the local health authority is telling you. I think if the local health authority is ignoring science or, you know, common sense, then individual event organizers certainly have the discretion to be able to say, yeah, even though it's not required in our town or county or state or whatever, we are going to follow these best practices as prescribed by whether it's the CDC or the WHO or whoever it is, you know, and be, you know, very open, very public about it. You know, so I think if there was anything I would want the community wide is for organizers to be very clear about what protocols will or will not be in place, right? As far as DrupalCon, right? This is a question I am having right now because I know that, you know, they intend to follow the local guidelines, but I don't know what the local guidelines are going to be 6 months from now when the event occurs, or 7 months from now when the event occurs, right? So that's the other challenge, is that like this thing is going to change, right? Either, you know, we're all gonna, enough of us will get vaccinated, and you know that will be in great shape, or some new variant will come along. It's still unpredictable, but I think yeah, I mean, I think the expectation should be, you know, keep people safe, follow what makes sense, and be really clear about it, right?
Yeah, I think it would be, I don't know if it would be helpful or not to start a discussion on Drupal.org.
Mm-hmm.
I just fear it could turn political. But, you know, it is what it is, and we have ways to deal with that if we need to. Amy June, would you be willing or interested in starting that discussion on Drupal.org? No?
I don't have the bandwidth, to be honest with you, because I
Okay.
have like DrupalCon and I have like 11 presentations before November 15th. So I'm just like really stretched thin. So
All right, so I
it's important to
will,
me, but I don't think I can take the lead, is I guess what I'm saying. I can definitely give input and push things along, but I just don't have the capacity for the lead role.
so I have to talk to the event organizer working group anyway. I actually think this is something that they should probably be in front of. So I will talk to them about this and see if they want to start that discussion and stuff. So we're gonna go in order that I see. So April, I see you have your hand up.
I was just gonna say, I added that link to the DrupalCon thing, and they do mention vaccination and proof of negative test requirements and talk about like how that's, I mean, I guess as far as they know it's going to work at this point, they've outlined some things, so that might be a good resource. Starting point.
Perfect. And JD?
Yeah, I think the bare minimum terminology that we should use is meet or exceed local guidelines. Because I'm 50 miles away from Chicago, but in Indiana, we've got students protesting the fact that the superintendent said wear a mask. And so our local guidelines, much like I'm sure other people here, are much more lenient than 50 miles away.
No, that's a good point. I like that phrase. And George,
I'd just like to say that with regards to the Florida camp, that maybe it would be prudent to advise them to simulate a confrontation prior to their event, so that the organizers are, I guess, pre-exposed to the protocols they'd have to put in place in order to protect the attendees.
so you're saying like if the Florida camp or any camp, for that matter, decides to require either a vaccine or a negative test or masks, and someone shows up refusing, what do you do?
What do you do? All right.
What do you do? Okay.
They should be ready for it. They shouldn't be figuring that out the day of. They should definitely have some sort of discussion or simulation of some sort.
I think it'd be nice if there was like a suggested protocol.
Yeah,
Playbook.
it would be very nice.
Do we know any experts in that, or it's got to be somebody? We know somebody.
I mean, is it a code of conduct
I think so. I mean,
violation
I mean,
because it is not creating a safe environment?
Definitely. And that's
if
why I
you're-
wanted to bring it up here, was like, if I didn't know if any other group had brought it up, but I definitely, I mean, I've gone to lots of shows so far and been in places where they require the phone little QR code. And I've only seen one out of like thousands of attendees, but there was that one, and it wasn't very pretty, but they had a security guard. Like Florida camp doesn't, we've got the one guy, but he doesn't work with Drupal, he's you know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to put that burden on the facility, but also, you know what I mean? It's just,
Well, let me
it's like the Windows user. There's always one in the crowd, so we just gotta be prepared
That's what
for it.
okay.
Yeah.
That's the comparison you chose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me actually push back on that a little bit. So I agree. Like if we're a volunteer run camp, it's really hard. But if you're working with a venue and the venue has specific requirements, and you're paying the venue to post your event there, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask the venue to enforce their own policies.
Yeah, except we don't pay the venue for Florida camp.
No.
You can
pay
afford
for,
it.
We pay for security.
Oh, okay, my mistake. Okay.
Yeah. Or we have in the past, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be something that's in the verbiage of the contract signed between the organizers and the venue. Is the security to what level? Is it just going to be that they're going to stand there and look or try to look intimidating, or are they actually going to intervene if necessary? Or should the event organizers be going out and hiring an off-duty officer for $25 an hour to stand?
It's good to get into those details. Like we've had Drupal cons where there's more security than we were expecting, and like, yeah, if someone wants to, yeah. So yeah, it's good to go over those details with contract negotiation.
Okay, I will, I will take it on to start that conversation with the event organizers working group. Code of conduct training, April, anything, any new completers since our last meeting?
I haven't heard anything that I can check in.
Okay. And I don't know if there's anything more we can do with this on the, on the public side. Other than dropping a comment somewhere saying that, for example, the September code of conduct training happened and we had one new completer or something like that, just to, but in the spirit of keeping things as transparent as possible.
We definitely have the issue where we give people credit so people can see the dates of when
Oh, that's
people
true. Yeah,
get
yeah.
credits too.
Okay, so that's public. Good, good, good. All right.
I
Next
think
one.
I might update the email confirmation for the $50 off to say, make sure you do the survey and say you're with Drupal if you want to get the credit, because I think, people might be taking it and not getting back to us because of a weird communication thing.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, the next one, how best to address attendees will be accountable to any existing CWG agreements, both in person and virtual events. This is something that April and I were talking about a while ago, and we've had not just April and I, but on and off conversations about how to, if someone is working with the CWG and they're not allowed to attend an event, how do we actually tell event organizers that they're not allowed to do that? And I know that there's stuff on Drupal.org related to this from these conversations. We actually wrote a blog post about it a couple of years ago, maybe. So this is just up to April and I to find some time to continue this discussion and see what we want to do with it. The next one, this is just an idea that we put in, oh, here comes Donna to the meeting. That, we talked about briefly, but we put it in ClickUp. No one's really leading it, but it's some type of enhanced code of ethics for event organizers. It'd be great if someone was interested and had the bandwidth and wanted to kind of take the lead on this one. Otherwise, I think it'll probably just stay in the icebox.
Is that something that could also be handed to the working group?
It can be offered. I don't know if it will be accepted, but yeah, I can, let me add that to my list of things I'm going to talk to them about. Okay. Next one is also an icebox or an issue that needs a leader. Discussion about what defining a leader in our community is and how do we decide who is one. This is a long-standing issue we've had in our community about defining a leader. And this issue about defining a leader needs a leader. So it's, now it's very meta. So that one's there if anybody wants to pick up the ball and run with it.
So Mike, I actually am seeing a slightly different order of things in ClickUp,
Okay.
but it's okay. So I had a question.
Yeah.
So I am taking a look. There's another unassigned task that's promote understanding of the mission to the community. It has some items underneath it, which and I'm wondering if this one might be a prerequisite for that other issue or related to that other issue. Because it has a blog post on leadership in the community and what it means is one of the sub items. My question is, I would be interested in taking on or taking responsibility for the promote understanding the mission to the community if folks were okay with that, with probably some help from the core group. But yeah, but this one might help provide more clarity around the leadership question is what I'm thinking.
So the one that I don't have in the agenda would be a prerequisite to this one, is what you're saying.
I think that is what I'm saying. Yeah, because I'm not
Okay.
in the agenda. I'm in ClickUp right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean, that's, I don't want to overextend you with the code of conduct stuff, obviously.
No, 2 items. That's all I'm taking. I'm done.
Okay. All right, yeah, great. So can you update the agenda with,
Yes.
The one
So
that's
let me
okay.
get into the agenda
So-
doc and do that.
okay, I appreciate it. All right, discussion about ADA. So this is the ADA inclusivity, accessibility stuff at Drupal events. We did all that work months ago with the playbook and the blog post. And we offered it to the event organizer working group, and nothing has happened at this point.
Well, at the board meeting, I presented at the board meeting, and then they said, but the next board meeting will make a decision about this. And they did not make a decision about it. So
Right.
they have added it to the agenda for the October one. And I'm going to try and put myself a notification to remind them about it before. That would be October 5th at 9 a.m. Remind them before that so that they will hopefully address it and let us know what they want to do.
I will lobby them as well before October 5th. Absolutely. Okay. And then I have, this is terrible. I must have done this in my sleep. I have an idea from Ruth. I have no idea what the idea is other than I put it in ClickUp at some point. So I have to click on this one and
So the code of conduct application.
yeah, perhaps. Let's see. Oh yeah, code of conduct application. Might this be of interesting for the Drupal community? So someone that Ruth, and as soon as you know more than I do about this, Ruth.
Oh
please-
yes, PJ. Yeah. It's an app that allows you to allows people to notify you of code of conduct issues and you to respond to them and have a full overview of the process.
So it's
It
like
was in beta.
it's like a conflict resolution process app.
Yeah, basically. And from what I recall, it works based on SMS, and you can send out to people a link so they can access the information about the event. But I didn't get into any deep testing of it because it
Okay.
wasn't quite ready enough for our event. But it did seem like something that might be quite good to look into at least.
All right, so can you, and I think, did I see a notification somewhere that you are not in ClickUp?
I think I've got an invite that's wending its way to an inbox somewhere.
Oh.
So I will get there.
Oh, okay, Jordana did. Okay, so if you get in, or when you get in, if you could just update that task in ClickUp, and it is waiting for a leader. It's waiting for someone to, pick that up. Or if you want to post on Drupal.org just as an idea and see if someone is willing to pick it up, that would be great.
Okay, will do.
So I'm going to put Ruth will add additional information. Okay, good. All right, where are we on time? 19 minutes left. Okay, so we're almost done. That's good. So community health, mental health first aid workshop. I don't know, and Amy June, I don't know if you know, have we had any interest in this? I know there was one about a month ago. Do we know if anyone from the Drupal community? Oh, Amy June's gone. Oh, she had to go. All right. Well, then we don't know. Okay, well, so I'm gonna just put no update for this one. And then we also have a couple of, well, we have another task here for additional workshops. But this is kind of what led us to this whole exercise we did with George M as far as what we want to focus on. So I don't really think there's anything there for us to talk about. Nudges. I believe we did use a couple of nudges in the last month or so. I haven't seen anything negative, any negative feedback from the nudges. So in the few instances, I think maybe half a dozen times they've been used at this point, they've just been accepted and people have moved on. So that's good. And everything related to nudges is already in the public. So there's nothing we have to do there. Okay, very good. So I guess the big question is, and think about it, but I would really like to not be the person to organize the meetings moving forward. It sounds like, and someone yell at me if I'm wrong, it sounds like we decided we're going to try and go every other month. So our next meeting will be in November.
How
So
do folks feel about us taking turns facilitating?
I think that's a wonderful idea that I wish I thought of.
And maybe maybe it just gets assigned randomly.
Assigned
But
randomly to the
the-
people who are here, or
I'm gonna
Assign
pull out the,
randomly.
I'm gonna pull out the name picker ninja. I'm gonna put all the names of whoever's here and everybody logs off, right? And we'll do the drum roll and we'll pick a name and that'll be the first.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so the only
Well,
thing
not
about
exactly
this,
the way April's describing, but
I forgot I muted. The only thing I want to kind of push back on, or just give people the option to, it should be an opt-in thing and not an opt-out, because some people are just not very comfortable with facilitating meetings in general.
No, I mean, if you don't want it, if you really are not comfortable with doing it, you shouldn't have to, but.
So this is why we should just or we opt out, or give people the ability to opt out. Just give the people the ability to opt out. Yeah. So good.
all right, I will set all that up, and I will send out an email in a few weeks, letting everybody know what the plan is, giving them a chance to opt out. Otherwise, April's going to get out her random name generator, and
I was
April's going to
joking.
decide.
I was joking.
Oh, no, too late. It's recorded. We can't go back in time now, April. You're in charge of picking the name.
Retroactively saying it was a joke.
We'll do it.
Well,
We'll do it in alphabetical order. So Anello has already gone.
I was going to say, that sounds like a joke. Alphabetical order. Yeah. All right. No, that's fine. I'm happy to organize that part of it. That's not a problem. So I will make sure that in about a month I'll get that process moving.
And I think we should probably try to get the template for doing it. Doing template might be sound like a little bit thingy, but like how other teams, like the mentoring working group and all those lovely folks have their monthly meetings that way on asynchronously on Slack. So I'll see if there's a template we can just kind of open source.
Fine with me. Sounds good. I appreciate that. All right. Do we have anything else? All right. Well, it's good to see everybody, and I'll talk to everybody on Slack. Otherwise, I'll see everyone's faces in 2 months, if not sooner. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.
See ya. Thanks.